Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whichever location you're watching from. Welcome to the podcast Momentum, where we bring you candid conversations with thought leaders shaping technology and life with purpose. Through Momentum Podcast, we introduce thought leaders from diverse domains through candid conversations about their grounded beginnings, their extraordinary journeys, their vision, and their resilience. These are the stories of leaders shaping technology and life with purpose. Each episode is an opportunity to learn from leaders who are not only driving innovation but also redefining what it means to lead with clarity, resilience, and impact. Behind every cloud transformation is a human story of resilience, grit, and vision. Today, we uncover one such story, not just of systems and architecture, but of persistence, adaptability, and leadership evaluation. Welcome, Shailaja.
Thank you, Sri. Thanks for having me here.
Sure. It's my absolute pleasure to have you on board on this podcast, Momentum. And today's guest has nearly 2 decades of experience building and scaling cloud systems for iconic brands like Macy's, Coach handbags, and Kraft Foods. She not only a seasoned cloud architect and staff software engineer, but also a mentor, problem solver, and advocate for simplicity in complex systems. What makes her journey remarkable is not just her technical brilliance but the resilience and adaptability she demonstrated through every chapter of her career. Please join me again in welcoming Shailaja.
Thanks again, Sri. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. Uh,
Absolutely. So, would you like to share your story on how your journey into the technology and, the revolutionized way of doing or scaling the complex systems, everything falling in place? Maybe a short intro of you on from your childhood and how you were getting into this technology and being a leader in this thought space.
yeah, as many of us, I've also born and brought up in India, and we were in a joint family growing up. And at that time, the common streams for higher education was either medical background or engineering. And I chose
Yeah.
engineering because I wasn't into being a doctor. So again, that just was not a lot of thought through decision. I just went with the flow at that time. But as I went through my college days, excuse me, as I went through my college days, I started gaining that interest, programming and then technology. How it was very interesting to know how all these come together to provide a great piece of functionality and product to the business. It's in any business. Now IT is everywhere. There's no business without IT presence. So I gained that curiosity and understanding through my college days. And after that, I joined as a trainee in iGate Global Solutions. You might have heard that name. It's in Hyderabad, and it's MNC as well. So I worked there for a couple of years, and that's the place where I have the seed sown for simplicity and maintainability. So I have to take the name of my mentor at that time, Madhu Chalur, who helped us train on these foundational skills for every software engineer should have. So it wasn't like, hey, learn a programming language, go do it. So it was more like they were sharing their experiences as they were training us, and that I have those strong thoughts ingrained in my mind that hey, whatever you do, it should be simple. It should be understood by people. It shouldn't be like you are showing off your skills, put everything in a uh, complex way to show the sophistication. That's not the point. Whatever you build, it should be simple enough. It should be simple to use, simple to maintain, simple to enhance. So that's where it all started, and I have those qualities and ideas still in my mind whenever I build something. If I can't understand, if I am unable to explain something to my team, then it's not that easy when it comes to maintenance as well. So I continue that all through my journey and even today.
I think you have fostered all these good things from the hub of your first initial phase of your journey. And I think it's so wonderful to hear from you where you have again put this complex solution of what IT is in such a simple way that if you can't understand, it is not easy for you to lead your team and make them understand what to do. So I think it's very simple fact where most of the people right now, they just want to do, they just go ahead and learn so much and do the certifications. But ultimately, if that is not getting implemented, I think the whole hard work and effort that is put in doing everything without understanding what has to be done back at the work. I think you narrated it so well. Thank you about that. So,
Thank you.
my next question to you would be what values from those early years continue to guide your leadership style today?
Yeah, and as I just mentioned, right, I was growing up. We grew up in a joint family. We are 15 members living under one roof. And it's not very uncommon in India, but there are some great lessons or life skills that we learn when we live in a joint family. One is shared responsibilities, teamwork. Not everybody has to work on every single task. We divide and conquer and then have that shared responsibility. It's not like if one person is working, the house will be clean and in a good shape. It's a team effort. So everyone has to play their part and everyone has to work together, like gel well for the house to run smooth and have a peaceful home for people to live in. And then uh, that's about teamwork. But another aspect of it is when you're not every person is different, right? So when you are living with from your childhood with different personalities, different way of thinking, different mindset, different way to tackle problems, you automatically uh, learn how to deal with different kinds of people. So adaptability, understanding each other, and then resolving conflicts, keeping the end goal in mind. End of the day, everyone wants a peaceful home. So you learn those skills of basic conflict resolution, etc., from the childhood. So I always am advocate for teamwork and then open communication for a smooth environment.
I
So
think this
I have
shows that you are a
continued.
leader. Yeah, you're not a leader since you joined this. You are a leader from the childhood where all the mentorship, everything came from being in a spacious place of joint family. And this also reminds me about one more thing where I was reading an article recently. They were saying that most of the successful people right now are the ones who were either helping chores at their very early childhood, where the current parenthood is like, okay, we have to, they're precious, they're fragile, and we have to keep them, not letting them into kitchen or not allocating any chores. But whereas I think the successful people who are actually doing the chores from childhood would be able to do. And I was researching something on this where they are kind of working from childhood on how to resolve conflict, how to work with different mindset, how to work with different moods when they are working with different people. There's an early learning that gets adapted and that they just imbibe into them where they can roll up their sleeves when they are at work, when they see that somebody is in an issue or a problem, like, okay, don't worry, I'm here, let me try to see. And then, that leadership gets from childhood. I think that is very clearly evident from your conversation that you have put in. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yes, see. And it is very important again. Uh, we growing up in that environment is one side of it, but again, bringing that same kind of mindset and approach after coming to the United States with the different environment here, right? It's not that easy to always expect uh, the same kind of how things went when we grow up versus how things will go uh, here in the United States is very different. People,
I
like
think
kids,
we are
don't
the
want to.
leaders. You are right. You're
uh,
totally right. I think we are the leaders who saw the transition of no internet version to internet right now, where we used to sit for 30 minutes in order to just get a Yahoo login. If you
yeah.
remember those good olden days, and it was so much fun. And now it is like, if you're not getting in 5 seconds, you're like, okay, I don't care about which website it is. I don't want to be here. And with so much distractions around, people are like, they work and they keep looking at the phone, and that does not allow the people to really focus on one thing and apply the pomodoro technique or so, which can really make them more productive. What are your thoughts on that in terms of being a woman leader? How are you going to help your team, or what is the advice that you can give to your team about this?
Yes, with in the current world of so many distractions, whether it be social media or internet, and then looking for instant gratitude, all this has becoming is has brought so many more challenges when we are growing, like raising our teens, and at the same time, the information overload that we receive, whether even in professional world, not just in personal world. Even in professional world, we have every new technology. So many technologies are very short living, and then people trying to catch up with those to stay current in the technology space. With so many distractions, it's always very important to stay focused. And there comes the importance of setting a goal. What are your career aspirations? Don't run behind someone else's uh, goals, or be tempted to do what others are doing. But having that clarity to about what you want in your career 5 years, 10 years, or even 15 years later, and then what you are doing, does those actions align with your goals? And having this clarity is not easy. I didn't have that either. I'll be honest with you. It's just only over the last few years I'm realizing that, hey, I'm just going with the flow. Am I is this really what I want to do? And I wish I knew this 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but better late than never. So it's never late to take action and have that clarity and work towards it. And that's all I can say.
Totally. I totally not. It is something more important that we should know if we are feeling happy with what we are doing. And forget about the current generation, even us. We just try to be in the rat race of bonus and promotions and all, trying to get the certifications, everything. But are we using again? I think we are circling back in the same circle and loop where everything just goes on and on. And that's where I think the distress originates from. And it's very important. You have said it right that you should have the clarity on what I want and what is the path and route that I have to take versus do I have to do everything that is out there in the market? I don't think necessarily we have to do that.
Yes, yes. That mental clarity is very important, and like reflection, calm down and then pause, take a pause. Are you doing what are you doing? Just listen to yourself, listen to your thoughts, uh, and make sure they are in alignment.
Totally agree. So, my another question on your leadership evolution, Shailaja. You have mentioned a pivotal moment where you were passed over for a promotion. How did that experience reshape your perspective on leadership?
Yeah, and one of the other quality that I had growing up is obedience.
Hmm.
So I I never questioned what my parents asked me to do or questioned anything else while growing up. So that obedience is considered a good quality back in India when we are growing like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You're obedient
It
kid,
is
that's a
still
good thing.
considered in a different
Yeah.
perspective, though. It is not gone still.
Yes, yes, it's still there. So that obedience, I never questioned or what my parents are asking me to do or what they want me to do, etc. And that same kind of obedience towards what our people leaders tell us at work. So we kind of obey or follow what they're asking us to do or the task that they're assigning us. And not, as I mentioned a minute ago, right? Having that clarity about what you really want in your career versus what you're doing day to day at work. So when that clarity is not there, you are just doing what they're asking you to do. And when you're looking for a promotion, when you're working towards it, and it doesn't happen to you, then you'll be questioning, hey, I've been working hard, I've been following and working on all the tasks that you assigned me to do, then why am I not getting that promotion? So when that happened to me, I didn't feel good about it at that time. And then I started blaming myself for some things, and then for some time, and then when I asked them, whatever excuses they gave or whatever reasons they gave didn't seem right to me. So then that introspect starts, and then you look at, hey, where am I lacking? What is that I need to do to be projected as a strong leader and take that initiative and ownership? And that's when things started. I started realizing that, yes, this is not how I should be working. There's something different that I need to do to either to uh, improve that visibility on what I'm doing, who I am in the company or the team itself. So
Mhm.
outside within your team, everybody would know what I'm doing. But does the team next to you know what I am doing? Does any other team within the company know what I'm doing or who I am? So coming out of that shell and be more visible, like what's the personal branding that you are creating for yourself? So the focus on visibility and personal branding and learning to say no or question, then that obedience, you break that shackle of obedience and then question, hey, I don't want to do this task because it's not what I want to do, or I want to ask for some other project which they are not offering to me at that time. I'm interested in doing so and so things. Do you have any opportunity for me to work in that area? So unless we ask, they wouldn't know, right? It's not their problem. It's my problem that I need to ask. So uh, as I went through that process, and then I learn and uncover that, hey, I need to do all these things to make some progress or grow in my career. So that's where uh, that introspection starts, and then you have some to-do list that, hey, I need to do something differently. That's where.
Absolutely. I think the more we try to incubate in our cubicles from the good olden days when we started our career, and raising a hand to say, hey, I am interested in doing this as well. So this is also my priority, and I need help to be there. And what can I do so that you can help me be there? I think this asking is equally important. That does not omit the definition of obedience. However, it is just making you a leader to stand up for yourself and then do something that excites you and that aligns with the goals of your organization too. I think that is so important, in my opinion.
Yep, yep. That's right, Sri. And then again, all comes down to clarity. If you can't think straight, then you can't do anything else in life, whether it's personal or professional. So that's
Yeah,
very important.
you can't be an individual contributor anytime. If you are a thought leader in your space, the along with the thoughts that you are kind of grooming, you also have to groom your team so that they can see your vision and believe what you're believing. So they come along with you to do what you want to do. It's similar to the golden circle. Simon Sinek says, right? So why, how, and what. And if we have that clarity, why I'm doing, how I can do, and what has to be done, I think that's a game changer totally, I would say.
Yep.
So
Lot of
as you,
knowledge again, right? Yeah,
yeah,
there's
go
one
ahead.
thing. So we have a lot of knowledge. So all this is not hidden. Nobody is hiding this perspective from anyone. It's all available even on the internet. But
Yes.
we consume all this, but we never take action. So that's biggest lesson learned over the last couple of years.
Totally. I think it again circles back to the point, Shailaja, where once you go into the internet and do a Google search, in the good olden days, it was difficult to find the knowledge, where and all what. You had to go to libraries and, talk to people. But now the communication channel has opened up so many ways. But people are, including me sometimes, when you open the Google and then say it gives hundred of websites, one website says something, one website. So the genuinity of information that you want to absorb is also very important. You should have a filter on what everything you are seeing is not true, but what is it that can be imbibed into us, and then which is helpful to your current thoughts and the leadership that you want to exhibit, correct? That plays a key role on what is, again, that circles back to your clarity. Is this the right thing that I'm looking at? If not, no, this is not something I want to look at. Go for another website, or narrow down by putting in the points what you want to go for, then go for your search. I think that clarity is very important. That's a great point that you brought up.
Yeah, that's right.
So, my next question is about women in tech and mentorship. So, as a woman in technology leadership, what unique challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them? It's not an easy path, career ladder for any woman to go up.
Yep. That's a great question, Sri. And especially being women in tech world, there's so many other challenges that we have to overcome compared to our male counterparts. The most important thing is family responsibilities. Whether you're a mom or a wife, you have additional responsibilities, whether it's cooking or keeping up with everything at home, raising the kids, take care of their school meetings, conferences, their extracurriculars, what they need. So all these take time, take time as well as your mental energy and physical energy. So this definitely has some impact on the professional side. End of the day, it's your time. If you are not, if you half of our part of your time or day is going towards the family activities, then you can't focus on your professional development or anything else at work. And the priorities also matter. And at least now I can say that my kids are teenagers, and I can I am away from some basic responsibilities of feeding them. So it's not that, but there are still so many things that take my brain time on what they are doing. Are they doing the right things? Are they being with right friends, right circle? Are they taking up all those advanced courses, or they are still at the basic level? And then peer pressure. So all these still take up time. But when it comes to spending time on yourself or your professional development or your mental peace, it's again leadership. If you are clear that, hey, I need to spend some time for myself, for me to excuse me, for me to be 100%, whether it's at family or at work, I need some me time. You understood that you need that me time, but you also need to explain or have that open conversation with your family so that they are aligned and they also understand that, hey, yes, mom is looking care of taking care of all these things for us, and she needs a break. And once they are aligned, then they are more open and willing to adjust to our needs as well. So I'm realizing over the last few months in PLA, after joining PLA, that they're having that open conversation. It doesn't have to be screaming, yelling, and then blaming people that, hey, because of you, I'm not able to do this thing. That's not going to get you anywhere. So have that open conversation. Be respectful. Be respectful to the kids, and explain your situation or your needs or what kind of support you are expecting from them for a smoother life for everyone. So that is important. And once you have that support from your family, then you are peaceful at mind, and then you can spend that energy either on yourself or your professional development, uh, and then you go from there. That's what I
Yeah,
learned.
totally, totally agree. Because that's a very important point that you brought up. Clarity, me time, define what you want. So, me time, I won't say it's a buzzing word. In the olden days, they used to have that. And even I think the leaders have that own maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour. That me time is so important for us to rejuvenate from our thought process because just like distractions, the woman's brain is so complicated, and I would always call them they are wired differently than men. So we take care of so many things, and on top of that, peer pressure and the technology chasing, everything adds up, and it doesn't define the clarity. So with the me time, I think it's only you and only you, where you get time to think through what am I doing, why am I doing, and how am I doing. That gives complete clarity and picture. And this me time should not be practiced just weekly once. I would advocate
Yeah.
for practicing it every day, and every month take a vacation just exclusively for women themselves so that they can rejuvenate more from out of that. And this also brings up to the topic of the current technology and what is happening with the AI wave that's sweeping across, right? The AI is everywhere, but this is not new. It has been there in the research from last 20 years, I would say, since 90s. But what excites you most about the future of cloud native applications and agentic AI? Why it is important right now to really do that? Is it really required to do everything via AI, or what's your take on this?
Again, what you asked multiple things in your questions. I would break it down. So again, cloud over the last
The
six, seven,
clarity is clear.
yeah. So uh, once, like in 8 to 9 years ago, when the cloud wave started, it was all new. So we had to learn and understand all the great features that cloud applications or cloud native systems bring to the table. And then we slowly adapt and learn and adapt to that world. And we are now almost every application is in cloud. If it's not in cloud, then it's tagged as not a healthy app. In my company, that's how it is treated. Now the next wave is the AI wave, and things are getting more complex to make it easier for the end users. So for a simple example, I started writing an article around how do you step into AI world when you are currently a traditional microservices developer, or an application developer, or you are in traditional application or system design like microservices, event-driven systems, etc. I had very similar challenges because there is ton of information on AI. I don't know where to start. So I've been there, and I start one course, do it for 10, 15 minutes or one day, and then next day something else comes up. Some other new shiny tutorial or video comes up, and then I switch to that. And then this happened for some time.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I understood that I need to stop and then go step by step. So identifying that step by step, hey, what's the first step? What is AI? What is machine learning? Some basics, not even in depth. And then again, there are different areas in AI as well. Like machine learning is one side of it, and then feeding the data is another, and then building a model. And then others aspect is using the model and then create new applications. So Picking the right area to focus is another challenge, because you need to understand what it is first. So,
Totally.
first thing is understand the basic terminology, what AI is, machine learning, what is the prompt, what is the instruction, what's the model, etc. And then everything I read, I always think about, okay, how does it relate to what I'm currently doing? Or how does this agent design uh, is similar or different to what I'm currently designing, like a general microservice or application?
Yeah.
Once I started understanding that, hey, okay, this is how it happens, this is how it need to happen when it comes to agent development or design versus a, okay, in microservices world, for the same requirement, if I have to create an application, okay, this is how I would do. And how you compare API versus an MCP server, a tool versus a function. So all these, once I started understanding this, it became better. But at the core, whatever principles you currently use, like, hey, your design should be modular, you should have clear API contracts, uh, observability, security, all these are still needed even in agent world, agent development. So it's not like whatever I know so far will I have to flush it out and then learn something new. The core concepts are still the same. So
Exactly. The core concepts never changes. So whether it's a AI or any other technology, it's still the rooted concepts are still there.
it's just that how systems interact today is different in the new world, where the user will we can just provide instructions, detailed instructions on how the agent should behave or handle a given user request. You can write in plain English and then it will just do it. So there's a lot more sophisticated features available for us to build more complex systems very quickly. So again, you might be seeing all these examples where you can build a full end-to-end application in 10 minutes. That wasn't the case.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
the design
It would
time,
take more than 10
analysis.
months. 10 months to 10 minutes? It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So that's the complexity, that's the scale of features that are at our fingertips. We just have to use it in the right way to build the right systems, to solve the right problems. So that speed to market is what is exciting me. So it's very interesting. We started developing an AI agent for application health monitoring in our company, where you have a list of master set of applications in Linux, which is like an application catalog, and then you have uh, Artifactory, where you will have all the artifacts for each of the applications, and you have Confluence, where you have all the documentation for each of these applications. If an application which is in my catalog, but it doesn't have an Artifactory, then that it's not a cloud application, or there's no CI/CD pipeline at all, then you automatically flag that application as red. So another step forward is, if I don't see relevant documentation for this application in Confluence, then it is red. So and this can be expanded to a lot more aspects of an application. So we are
Yeah.
just starting. We are doing a POC to gather that information, how you want to analyze that, whether it's using any prohibited dependencies or libraries. So this is just the beginning. So this will serve both at the enterprise VP level. They want to see what applications are still not up to the standards, whether it's enterprise standards or security guidelines, uh, where they need to improve. So
Totally.
this
I
is
should
very
say
exciting.
that. Yeah, yeah. It's very exciting, and I should say that you nailed it totally from end to end, from beginning all the way to end with all the journey. So I think anybody who are watching this, now they know where to start and where to go. They have the complete clarity. And I was taking the notes when you're saying that, that You have derived total clarity. These are must and should to go with anybody. It's like have proper clarity. You can break down any complex problem into simplified versions so that it doesn't even appear complex anymore. And that lays your path to where you want to go. So I have one final question, Shailaja. If you would give one piece of advice to your younger yourself, what would it be?
That's There are so many advices that I can give to myself, but one thing I want to point out is don't get too comfortable with what you're doing. If you are
That's
in that comfort
outstanding.
zone, if you are in that comfort zone, you will not grow at all. You have to try
Totally.
new things. Be ready
That's
for new projects or new tasks. Don't shy away from failing. That's our biggest fear, right? Failing is not like a learning. That's how we are grew up. We shouldn't fail. We shouldn't fail. It's a bad thing. But failing is a way to learn, way to become more stronger. So if I had this mindset long ago, then things would have been very different. But again, better late than never. If you are too
totally.
comfortable, you cannot learn anything, you cannot grow, you will be in that same place, that same pond.
Undoubtedly, it is true. This reminds me about two things that I usually practice and I say to anybody, and I constantly remind myself. One is a fail, which Dr. Abdul Kalam Azad had said that he's an Indian president, and he has said clearly that fail is nothing but it's a first attempt in learning. So
Yes,
if you never made an attempt, then you wouldn't have failed. If you haven't failed, then you won't know how to be resilient back and what to do in order not to fail. And the second
yes,
one is impossible itself says, I am possible, breaking into, there's a complex thing when you say impossible. And when you break it into simplified version, it says, I am possible. So when the impossible itself says, I am possible, then why can't we simplify our uh, all the complex issues and complex problems that we are running through with simplified version of AI and keep roaring with the AI, I would say.
yeah. So I keep remembering one thing. One of my colleague, Manish, he said, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." So nothing is complex. You need to know how to break it down, then you can solve it.
You well
So
said, and you just framed it as an ending statement and quoted it so well. So, Shailaja, thank you for sharing such powerful insights today, from your grounded beginnings to your leadership evolution and vision for the cloud and AI. Your story is a reminder that resilience, adaptability, and a passion for mentorship are as important as technical excellence. I know our listeners, whoever is will be watching the podcast, will walk away not only inspired but also the practical lessons from our journey of clarity, breaking down the complex problem into simplicity and pave you apart from there. Thank you so much for joining us.
oh, thank you so much, Sri. It's wonderful talking to you and having that open conversation. You made the stage very comfortable and keeping it open, uh, easy for me to talk as well. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you. Pleasure is mine.